Good morning, John Stettin in the Past the Wire studio, and it's Sunday morning, day after the Preakness, and what can we say? Justify got it done in a game, gritty performance, and probably, definitely the first time he really got looked in the eye and had to, dig down and show some grit. And you never really know how a horse is going to respond to that situation, as you don't really with any athlete. Yeah, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And Justify took a hit yesterday, and he got up, kept fighting, and got the job done. I thought his race was very impressive. He didn't run exceptionally fast, and to detract from what he did yesterday, it was absolutely a speed-favoring racetrack. It was also a pretty fast racetrack. It was packed down pretty tight and sealed sloppy strip, and that kind of takes away a little bit from his performance, but not all that much when you really look at it and dissect it, because Good Magic took a shot at him from the inside, pressed him every step of the way. And, I didn't see it myself, I heard that Chad Brown might have been a little bit unhappy with Jose Ortiz over that. I disagree with that, because I think Jose, going into the race, knew he had to try something a little bit different to turn the tables and reverse the situation that he faced in the Kentucky Derby, where he just couldn't really threaten him. So what else could he do? I mean, if he, did the same thing again, you can expect the same results. You know what they say about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So he tried to change it up a little bit, took the race to him from the inside. I'm sure he knew the track was playing very kind to speed. And, he kept Good Magic enough off the rail, because I think the better part of the track was a little bit away from the rail. And he took his best shot, and I think Justify, showed in the Derby was the better horse, and kind of, validated that yesterday. Now, that said, I think you also got to give some kudos to Mike Smith and the way that he rode. He reacted to what Jose was doing perfectly. He did not go head and head with him side by side. Even though Good Magic pushed him out a little bit, he let him go out a little bit further in the better part of the racetrack, and to keep him away from being, right next to Good Magic, which might have gotten him a little bit keyed up, made him work a little bit harder, and he had him in that nice rhythm, nice gallop that he gets into, and I think that helped him a lot. And, when you have two horses, good horses, going at it for, the better part of a mile and 3/16 race. I mean, we lost view of them in the fog for a little bit there, but we kind of knew what was going on. And when they came out of the fog, you could tell, pretty much what had happened, because of, where they were when they came out and where they were when they went into the fog. So, we saw enough of it to know what was going on, and they were going at it pretty good. They were doing pretty good. And, Justify had enough to get away from him in the stretch, and he had enough to get away and, to really hold off Bravazzo and Tenfold, who were coming, both pretty hard. In a shameless point of self-promotion, we did our Preakness video, and I think we were spot on. I liked Justify. I thought he was gonna, run a big race, which he did. And I thought Tenfold was the key to creating some value in a very difficult race to create value in, by using him second and third in the triples, supers, and exactas. Unfortunately, he did not get second. He got third. It looked like he was going to get second. For a second, I thought he was going to win, and I was like, oh no, because that would have been the worst scenario for me, because my play was pretty much, Justify over Tenfold with some stuff behind, and then Justify with everybody in the middle and Tenfold third. But Tenfold getting second was worth a lot more to me, because I would have had it several more times, and I also would have had the exacta instead of just the other exotics. That said, we were spot on in the analysis, and if you didn't watch it, you could still watch the Preakness analysis, and you get my opinion only at Past the Wire, and you are welcome to come back or subscribe to the channel, and we're going to do it again for sure. We've got an exciting Belmont to look forward to now. And, we've got Justify going for the Triple Crown. And there's two important things to remember when you make your decision on whether you're behind Justify or whether you're for somebody else. And, I haven't made that decision yet, and there's no reason to make it now. We don't even know who's in the race, Justify included. That said, Triple Crown winners historically tend to come in spurts. I've said it before, years and years ago, I heard people saying it's too easy, we got to make it tougher. Everybody's doing it. Secretariat, Seattle Slew, affirmed over in a very, close period of time. Then we went all those years until American Pharaoh did it, and everybody was saying, oh, we got to change the rules. It's too hard. Nobody's ever going to do it again. And that California Chrome guy, I don't even remember his name, but he said, we'll never see another Triple Crown winner in my lifetime. Bang, American Pharaoh did it. Bang, we may get another one now. We may not. We'll see. But that said, those are the two schools of thought. They come in spurts. Justify looks to be the goods. He's now shown us that he's got some grit. And we've also seen a lot of really good horses step up to the plate going for, that third leg. And they don't call it the test of champions for nothing at 1.5 miles and not make it. So it's going to make for a very interesting, exciting day. Great for the sport, great for the, the bettors, and, great for the fans as well. And I'm sure Naira rightfully is very happy about it because it just, boosts what is already going to be a great day of racing. Now, Justify was definitely aided a little bit by the speed favoring track, but, you can negate that somewhat because of the pressure that he took from Good Magic. Coming out of the race, I think, Tenfold showed that he belongs with the upper echelon of 3-year-olds this year. As I said, well before the Preakness, and, he's been on my tracking trips list for a while. He's going to develop into a really nice horse. He's a little late to the party and a little late developing, but, I think he's a top 3-year-old for sure. And I think he showed that and showed his potential, yesterday. And he's still got, forward moves in him for sure. He's still developing and learning what the game is all about. So, you got to also consider that, he and Bravazzo made up a lot of ground on a track that was not kind to horses coming from that far off the pace. So, they both ran really big in defeat. And, what else can you say about a Baffert Lucas Exactor in the Preakness? They were talking to both of them before the race, and, Baffert surely had the edge, especially odds-wise, price-wise, with the favorite going in. But, Dwayne showed that, in big races, he could spoil the party. We've all seen that movie before, and he almost pulled it off again yesterday. A few more jumps, Bravazzo's the winner. So, it was a great race. It was really exciting, and I think that Justify answered another question in that, does he have some grit? Can he get looked in the eye and fight? And I think he showed that he can. I don't think there's any question about that. So he, he broke the Apollo curse. He's won the Derby. He's won the Preakness. Looks like he's going to be, taking a shot at the Triple Crown. And he's shown that the hype was legit. The race before that, the Sir Barton, another Baffert runner, Axeman, ran off the screen in a very impressive win. And you have to wonder, would he have been a force and or threat in the Preakness? And it certainly looks on paper, and when you watch the replays, that he surely would have. But, would Bob run that horse against Justify in the Preakness, knowing that they were both sitting on big races like that? Probably not. Will he run him in the Belmont? Probably not. And that's kind of a negative in the game, and I'm going to do a little talk on that about, a lot of trainers, actually a few trainers having, a lot of the best horses and, a lot of common ownership interests and things like that, because I think it's a very interesting and also a troubling part of the game that is not leading us into the right direction. And it's not that I'm against syndicates, but we'll talk more about that later. As for Justify, like I said, aided by the speed track, not a particularly fast race, but that really doesn't matter. He did what he had to do and ran as fast as he had to, and that's all you can really ask a horse to do. You know, he wasn't running against the clock, he was running against the other horses in the race. So, you know, buyers, none of that really means anything to me. That you know, thoroughgraph number, which you know encompassed the trip and how wide he was, will mean more to me because he was, you know, a little bit out into the track and you know, lost some ground around both turns by Mike keeping him out there. But I think that was smart because keeping him away from Good Magic probably helped him to relax, because if two horses are side by side, head and head, they're more likely to get keyed up, more likely to get tired, more likely to exert more energy early. So, you know, Mike is a master, and he saw what Jose Ortiz was doing, and he just, you know, out chest played him, and you know that's part of great race riding. And again, I don't fault Jose. I think he, you know, he did what he had to do and took his best shot, and also rode a great race. He just, you know, you can't make you know, a horse that's not as good as another horse beat him all the time. You could try, and you know, sometimes it'll work out, and sometimes you could race ride or out chest play the other guy and the other horse, but you know, sometimes you just can't. And when Mike Smith is on the best horse, he's a tough guy to outfox. You know, he knows where all the bodies are buried. So, you know, great race, really exciting. It's nice when you're right, and we were certainly right and spot on in calling it. And I think that was, you know, a good lesson. If you watch the Preakness video and how I explained it, it was a good lesson in creating value, even if you like the favorite. In a race where it was extremely difficult to create value. I mean, the whole card was, the pick six paid $41. I mean, what more do you need to know? But the triple was 100 and something, the superfecta was 300 and something, and the key was tenfold in finding that horse, which we were able to do and put in the right spots behind Justify. And as I said, as opposed to the past performances and figures, sometimes you got to trust your eyes and what you observe, and you know what experience and longevity in this game can teach you, and there's no substitute for that. And yesterday was a good example of it. That said, on to the matters at hand today. We'll be back with more later, and hopefully, you know, find a few more long shots to help everybody along and get to the Belmont Day, and we'll have interesting stories and tales from the Sport of Kings. And subscribe to Pass the Wire on YouTube if you enjoy it. If not, you know, no need to watch, and you can always check back anyway. So I will talk to everybody later, and ciao for now.